Hey, this is TT from Ttfixmyhair. You're looking at Chloe. Say hi, Chloe. Chloe's my model today. She usually is. She's 12 years old and she's got a lot of hair. Now today what we're going to do for you is a mermaid braid. We've seen a couple different ways people are doing it, and we've figured out a way that we think is going to work for us with all this long hair, and how best to do it for something where we don't have to use a lot of bobby pins and a lot of extra stuff. So what we've done is her hair is parted on the side, and we've used this Got to Be Playful. It's like a pomade, and we've just put a little around the edges so that her wispies will stay in place as I brush her hair around. We're going to do it as though it were a side pony right behind this ear, and I'm going to have her turn and look that way for me. And we're going to part the hair into 2 equal sections and smooth her bangs. She's got really long bangs, but they are still have a tendency to wispy. And we also use the Got to Be Playful pomade when we're braiding, because you know how it is when you're braiding. It's very rare that you have hair that every hair is the same length, and sometimes it will try to sort of come out and look a little messy, which it's not terrible if there's a little bit of something, you know, but we want it to look as neat as possible. So we've got 3 equal sections on the first braid, and we're just going to braid it. Not really tight, we're kind of keeping it loose, and we're just going to braid this down. And I've got a little bit of that pomade on my finger, and so as I'm holding, and I do braid underhanded, as I get to the end, and I know you might not be able to be seeing the end, but I'll show you as soon as we get there. I'm leaving just about the normal amount you would for a braid, and I'm just using one of these little elastic ties, you know, 1,000 for $1 type. Alright, now we're on to the second side, and I've just smoothed that over. I had used the Got to Be Playful pomade to keep the wispies, and we're again just pulling this side over just like to match this one for a side pony, but we're not going to put it in a rubber band. We're going to braid it loose. But before we do that, we're going to take one thin strand of hair about this thickness, and we're just going to put it over to the side. We're going to use that in a minute, and I'm going to put it under here. Alright, I've got this, and I'm just going back to braid the same way I did. Look this way. The same way I did that one, and I want to do it right beside that one because I want them to end up the same length side by side. So I'm just doing a regular braid, putting them even three even sections, and I'm coming right over to start the braid at the same place that the braid I've already done is. What we have now, we have the 2 braids and the little piece that we pulled out from before, and I've put the pomade on it, got it really nice and smooth. And now I need to thread it onto this really heavy needle. This is a upholstery needle. You can use a plastic learning to sew needle. You can use a yarn needle. Anything that has this big eye like this. And you might be able to use a topsy-turvy tool. There's some different beading tools you might can use. You find what works for you, but this is what works for us. And in order to thread her hair onto the needle, I've got a needle and thread. And I'm putting the little needle and thread, and I'm threading it through the eye of this giant needle. But before I pull it all the way through, I'm going to put her hair in the thread, and then I'm going to go ahead and pull the thread until it pulls her hair through. And I may have to get down to where it's really thinner to get it to come on through. Now I can slide it up. Well, there we go. Now I've got her hair threaded through the needle. I've pulled it up, and yes, it will kind of, you know, rumple up the hairs. Just smooth them back down. And I'm going to hold the needle and the hair up high, and we'll put the braids together. And right here where the braids meet, I'm going to begin to sew in the natural crease of the braid. I'm going to some hair on either side. I'm going to pull it through. Now I'm not going to pull and let the hair come out of the needle. Okay, I'm just going to pull enough to get the hair through. And then I'm going to come down a section and I'm going to meet a little hair on each side of both braids again. And I'm not going to just pull the needle so that it pulls out. Okay, I'm just pulling it through enough, and then I'm taking some of the hair and pulling the hair on through like this without letting the needle ride down the length of the hair and pull out. Okay. And I'm just continuing to just basically weave this little strand of hair through different sections as the braids meet up at the seam. As it gets low, you're going to have to be extra cautious about not letting the hair fall out of the needle. And again, it doesn't have to be real close together, but you want a certain amount of tension there. When you get down to the bottom, I'm just taking the end, and I'm going to take one of the braids rubber band out, and I'm going to bind it together with the one that has a tail that's tied, the little piece that I sewed through, and this side. I'm going to hold it down level, and I'm just going to rubber band it all together. What I've done is I've threaded the ribbon. This is a belt, but it's a real thin, almost mesh material, but you could use a ribbon, tie, you know, just whatever you have, a cord, something decorative, and take this, and I'm going to weave it through from the bottom, just going to catch both sides just like I did with the hair, and I'm just going to leave a little bit of that tail to tie off. And I'm just weaving from a natural place in the braid, and I'm just weaving this cord, ribbon or belt, whatever you're using, back and forth, gently tugging it through. Be easy, and making sure that I'm catching some of each braid, not just going up one braid, which I guess if you wanted to, you could do a lot of different things however you saw fit, whatever cuteness you were able to come up with. This will actually enhance the hair having held it together, which to me is just beautiful on its own. But when you get up here, if you have any kind of little need to pull those two braids together, maybe you didn't pull them together tight enough, I don't think I did, it gives you a little bit more. Now I'm just going to take this down under, pull it through, and probably flip this braid, and I'm just going to weave it down to get back down to the bottom so that I can tie the bottom off. This will, you could make it show if you wanted to, but I'm not going to. I just want to get back down to where I started, and again, I don't want to pull too hard, because if I do, I'm going to change the way the braid looks. So here I am, just going down, going down, going down, getting back down to the bottom. And here I am, here at the bottom. I've got the two ends. One's a lot longer than the other, so I think what I'll do is I'll use that side to wrap that tie. And then I'll just make a pretty bow. Not big, nothing, you know, real extravagant or anything. But there, if you'll get up on your knees a little bit and we can see. Now that is a pretty braid. And she could still, if she wanted to, I think it'd be a little too much, but this got to be too sexy, voluptuous volume hairspray. I'm going to spray her just enough to keep the wispies back. I'm going to spray the braid. Now, I'm going to come back to this pomade, and right here where me working has kind of rumpled this braid up, I'm just going to kind of smooth the edges and make it look really neat. And I'm going to take a little bit and I'm going to really get these ends nice and not saturated but covered nicely, just to smooth that edge. And there you go. You've got a mermaid braid with a tie, or without a tie, or just any way you want to. And Chloe, if you'll look, and that's beautiful. And she would probably wear it like that. From Ttfixmyhair. Thanks for watching. Sub us to keep up with us.